Coronation Street fans spot what could bring Theo Silverton down in enough admission. It comes as viewers of the ITV soap are finding it increasingly difficult to watch the toxic relationship between Theo Silverton and Todd Grimshaw continue to unfold. Coronation Street fans believe they may have identified the key detail that could finally expose Theo Silverton as frustration grows over his ongoing abuse of Todd. Todd seemed on the brink of walking away for good after Billy Mayhew, already suspicious, uncovered the horrifying reality of what his old friend had been enduring during the wedding of Debbie Webster and Ronnie Bailey. While in Billy's hotel room, Todd played footage that Theo had secretly recorded using hidden cameras inside their flat. The scenes were later shown in a special episode told entirely through recorded material such as CCTV and police body cam footage following a violent incident at the apartment. Todd was unable to sit through the clips, even when Billy pointed out that the videos had clearly been edited and failed to show the full truth. After Todd left, Billy located the original files and realized the full extent of the abuse Todd had suffered. Billy later confronted Todd again, promising to support him, but as they prepared to return to Weatherfield in the minibus, Theo suddenly appeared, turning the journey tense and uncomfortable. As viewers later discovered, the minibus was involved in a terrifying multi-car collision that formed the centerpiece of the dramatic crossover event between Coronation Street and Emmerdale, known as Corriedale. Although most passengers managed to escape, Billy became trapped by his seatbelt. Despite this, he desperately tried to free himself. When Theo Silverton returned to check who was still inside the burning vehicle, he appeared to fasten Billy back into his seat before abandoning him, leaving him to die in the flames. Todd has since been left heartbroken over the loss of his former partner, while also trying to be there for Summer Spellman, after Billy had become her guardian following the death of her adoptive father. Now, fans are hoping that even after his death, Billy may still play a part in bringing Theo to justice. Posting on Reddit, one viewer said they hoped Billy had left behind evidence for Summer or George that would expose the abuse Todd endured. They added that storing the unedited footage online could finally bring the storyline to an end. Another fan questioned the whereabouts of Billy's phone, wondering whether he might have been able to send a message revealing that Theo had deliberately left him to die. A third viewer speculated that Billy may have forwarded the recordings to himself, predicting that Summer could uncover them while going through his belongings. One commenter suggested that Summer moving in with Todd and Theo could push Theo into a guilt-fueled confession during a heated confrontation. Meanwhile, another fan believed that Theo's remorse would eventually overwhelm him, leading him to hand himself in to the police. Coronation Street is set to tease a possible reunion for Lisa and Carla in scenes airing next week. Roy Cropper finds unexpected comfort from his late wife Haley in the days ahead, as he and Carla Connor come together to mark the anniversary of her passing. As emotions resurface, memories of Haley begin to shape the choices Roy and Carla face as they consider what lies ahead. When the difficult anniversary arrives, a reflective Roy confides in Lisa Swain that he intends to visit the boating lake where he scattered Haley's ashes, hoping to pay tribute to her memory. As Roy and Carla share memories of Haley, Roy gently encourages Carla to reconcile with Lisa, believing that Haley would have wanted her to find true happiness. Moved by his words, Carla echoes the sentiment, noting that Haley would have wished the same peace and joy for Roy as well. A source from the street explains that Roy's growing connection with his pen pal Alice has left him torn, as he worries that moving on romantically feels like a betrayal of Haley. However, reflecting on Haley's legacy helps both Roy and Carla realize that honoring her memory also means allowing themselves to embrace the future and live life to its fullest. Roy's moment of clarity comes at a pivotal point. Earlier in the week, he writes to Alice, only for Nina to tease him about taking things further, which leaves Roy visibly upset and storming out of the cafe. Following the anniversary, a refreshed Roy sits down with Nina to discuss the possibility that Alice might not be who she claims to be. They eventually dismiss the idea, just as Roy receives a message from his mysterious correspondent. Could a new romance be about to begin for the kind-hearted cafe owner? And will Carla and Lisa finally let go of past grievances and acknowledge their lingering feelings for one another? Producer Kate Brooks has already hinted at a joyful spring ahead for Lisa and Carla, suggesting their reunion is only a matter of time. She recently explained that while there is plenty for them to overcome, their love for each other has never truly disappeared, and it was circumstances rather than feelings that pulled them apart. With the shadow of Becky now firmly behind them, Brooks added that the couple can finally focus on building a future together. She also teased that wedding plans may not be far off, as the pair were once engaged and are destined for a happy ending. According to Brooks, freedom from past drama will allow Lisa and Carla to enjoy a peaceful and loving relationship, making the coming months a romantic and uplifting time for the couple, one that is sure to delight fans. Coronation Street is set for explosive scenes next week as Tyrone Dobbs angrily corners Carl Webster, determined to make him admit to the hit and run that left Tyrone seriously hurt. Convinced that Carl is responsible for the crash that caused his devastating injuries, Tyrone is pushed to breaking point and demands answers. But will Carl finally crack and reveal the truth? Moments after stepping out of the shower, Carl is shocked to find Tyrone waiting for him. Spotting his enemy, Tyrone lunges forward, raising his crutch and using it to pin Carl against the wall. A show insider explains that Tyrone's fury is completely justified, as the suspected hit-and-run left him temporarily paralyzed and turned his entire life upside down. The accident not only placed enormous strain on his already fragile marriage to Fizz, but also forced him into a long and painful recovery as he slowly relearned how to walk. Knowing that Carl has so far escaped punishment becomes too much for Tyrone to tolerate, leading him to take matters into his own hands. As Tyrone presses Carl for the full story, viewers are left wondering whether Carl will finally confess or once again manipulate his way out of trouble. Tyrone's outburst is sparked by the emotional turmoil of his close friend Kevin Webster earlier in the week, as Kevin struggles to come to terms with the possibility that his sister Debbie could end up behind bars. Back at home, a devastated Kevin gazes at an old photograph of himself with Debbie. Overcome by memories of better times, he lashes out in anger and wrecks the living room. Another source reveals that Tyrone follows Kevin inside and is stunned by what he witnesses. Months of pressure from Abai and Carl have worn Kevin down, and the fear of losing his supportive sister, who is already battling dementia, proves unbearable. Through tears, Kevin admits to Tyrone that he can't cope any longer, prompting Tyrone to believe he is helping his friend by confronting Carl. Later, in the pub, Tyrone admits to Fizz and Kevin that the situation with Carl turned violent. But the big question remains, did Tyrone manage to extract the confession he needs to finally see justice done? Coronation Street airs on weeknights at 8:30 p.m. on ITV1 and is also available to stream on ITVX.